So what kind of money are you paying for your groceries these days? Now, I'm assuming that you're just a regular average Canadian. You're not one of the rich 1% that just seems to own everything while the other 99% of us struggle along on a weekly basis just by doing something that we used to take for granted, like buying groceries. How are you doing on that score? Because if you're like a lot of people, you're probably struggling mightily with that. And if you live in Renfrew and you've ever driven down Argyle or Lockheil or wherever the food bank is located there on the corner of Patrick and whatever street that is, you'll notice that I think it's either Tuesday or Thursday that you'll see that that's a pretty robust line. It almost looks like the Apple store when they're coming out with a new product, how the line wraps around the building and down the block. Now at the food bank, luckily it's not that bad yet. And I don't know if it'll get worse than it currently is, but it's pretty bad as it is. And so, food banks are things that were initially instituted to help people who had fallen on hard times and were struggling to feed themselves and their families. All well and good. It's a sign of a progressive and caring society that such things exist in the first place. But when you see that line going out the door and wrapping around the corner and down the sidewalk, that's a harbinger of tough times to come if they're not here already. Those people that are in that line at the food bank, not all of them are homeless. Not all of them are unemployed. In fact, I don't know what the percentage would be, but I think we'd be shocked to find out that a lot of the people standing in that line actually have jobs. But that shouldn't come as a surprise, because there's people out there that have jobs that are living in their cars because they can't afford accommodation. But that's another topic. So groceries currently in Canada, expensive. And so what are we going to do about it? So the short answer is absolutely squat, because that's just the way we are. Like, if people treat us like shit, we just sit there, most of us, and we just take it, right? That's why we're part of the 99%, and the other folks, the 1%, they get everything they want because they're willing to, knuckle drag and fight you for every one of those pennies that they put into their excessive bank accounts to make them rich and you less so. So there's not much we're able to do about this situation if we continue to exist in this atmosphere of inertia, where we fail to advocate for ourselves, or we fail to stand up or stick up for ourselves. So anyways, in the grocery industry here in Canada, it's dominated by three Canadian companies. I mean, yes, there's Walmart and Costco in the mix there as well. But the three I'm talking about are Metro, Loblaws, and Empire Foods. Those are the three main conglomerates, and each one of those three have offshoots. They have subsidiary companies. So basically they have other grocery stores that fit different price points, right? So they've got their upscale stores, and then they've got their food basics, or their no frills, or you know what I mean? Like the so-called bargain discount grocery stores, but it's all the same company, right? And so they're getting you one way or the other, right? So when you flee Metro because of the prices there, the prices that are so high that the employees themselves can't afford to shop at the place, they're standing in line at the food bank, or you see them at No Frills or Walmart. If you can't afford to shop there, but then you go to a Food Basics and you figure you're really putting one over on them, you're not. You're just giving money to the same people under a different name. But be that as it may. Hey, remember COVID? Remember when the prices shot up during COVID because of transportation costs, this cost, that cost, all the other thing cost. Everything cost more. And when we just sat there and accepted that as fact. And so I'm not here to tell you that those weren't facts. Yes, COVID was a major challenge on many industries, and the grocery industry was one of them. But that COVID thing, that kind of came to an end. That was back, wasn't that 2020 or something like that? That was 6 years ago, my friends. That was 6 years ago. Did you notice your prices going down at any point substantially in that 6-year period since the end of COVID, which was used as the excuse to pump up the prices in the first place? Have you noticed any downward motion in the prices that you pay anywhere? Because I haven't. And so if the conditions for the price increase, or price increases rather, if those conditions have gone and they're no longer with us, then why are the price increases still here? Why are they not gone? Why have they not followed the demise of COVID? Why have they not been reduced as COVID has been reduced? Well, that's because of things like profiteering and gouging. Because if you're a grocery store or a gas company or anything like that, once you raise your prices, friends, they don't come back down. It's just the way of the marketplace, okay? So sorry for all the cynicism, and no, I'm not a communist, and if I was, that's not entirely a bad thing, okay? I'll settle for socialism. That seems to be a rather modest form of communism. It's got the word social in it, which means that I believe in people. So that doesn't mean that I'm some sort of Marxist guy out to pull the rug out from under hard-working Canadians. I mean, for God's sake, I'm not standing here on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm actually sitting, but I'm not here on a Wednesday afternoon ranting away into the ether because I have some sort of Marxist ideology that's driving me, and I want to burn down the world and end capitalism and, wear sackcloth and, eat vegetables and carrots and potatoes and cabbage for the rest of my existence. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about one thing that could be done by people like you and I, that if we got together and we resolved to stick up for ourselves and, advocate for ourselves, that we might be able to we will be able to make significant change to our grocery bill. These people may be monoliths. They may be economic giants. They may be industry drivers. They're all of that. And compared to that, I'm a nothing. But you know what? My little nothing, when I stand beside 100 other nothings, that turns into something for these people, and they will pay attention to us, but they will not if we don't say anything. And that's just a fact. So, if you stand up and shake your fist at these people all by yourself, they're just going to laugh at you and ignore you. But if you stand there with 100 other people and shake your fist at them, that's going to get their attention. But don't worry, I'm not here to shake my fist at anyone, and I'm not here to try and talk you into shaking your fist at anyone either. I'm here to talk to you about how we can advocate for ourselves or on behalf of ourselves for realistic, responsible grocery pricing. Because groceries and food in a place like Canada ought to be a right, not something that you have to struggle and work so hard for. Food's not a privilege. It's not some reward. In Canada, an affluent country like ours, food should be a right. No one should have to go without it. And, it makes me wonder how many people would be in that line at a food bank if we actually started sticking up for ourselves and getting some better prices. Would those people be able to make their grocery bill stretch out a little better over the course of a week or a month or even a day? So I've already identified the main stores here. The Metro, as I said, Loblaws, the corporation that owns several subsidiaries, as well as Empire Foods, and then you've got the American guys, Walmart and Costco. So recently there has been a concept. Well, no, the concept's been around for a while, but it's made not headlines, but it's come to the attention of the media because people are starting to talk about it. The idea of publicly funded grocery stores. Oh my God, I can imagine the eye rolling and all of that's going on in corporate Canada. Oh my God, here we go. It's the communist boogeyman raising his ugly head once again, coming after us and our way of life. Oh my God, empty that bucket of vomit because there's more coming. Oh my God. And we sit and we allow that to happen. Boo fucking who for you guys. Okay. So instead of profit margins of like $5 or $6 billion a year, you're going to have a profit of like $4.78 billion a year. Oh my God. I feel so bad for you. Okay, so this publicly funded grocery store idea, the idea that the government might become involved in the establishment of grocery stores that have reduced prices, reasonable prices. These are not for profit things. These are basically ways that the government can respond in a manner to this crisis. And it is a crisis. This isn't a problem. It's a crisis. When people can't afford to feed themselves and they're going through trash bins and stuff just to feed their family, and they have jobs while they're doing it, I would suggest that we've got a problem here in Canada. So I'm not here to fix the world, but I wouldn't mind fixing my little slice of it if I could. And so that's why I'm here to talk about this. So, that idea of publicly funded grocery stores originally caught fire recently with the election in New York City of a new mayor by the name of Zoran Mamdani. And one of the ideas that he came out with, and it's not his idea, but he's advocating for it, is the establishment of some of these publicly funded grocery stores. For two reasons. One, to make groceries more readily available and affordable to people who are struggling to afford them, so that there's not like price gouging and profiteering. Like, it's a no profit proposition, right? We're not there to make any money. We're just there to sell groceries at a fair price. And that money comes in. The government has an advantage on economy of scale, right? Like they've got like deep pockets. And so when their purchasing power and the discounts that they can get because of bulk purchasing, that's the foundation for the lower prices and that sort of thing. So, we're buying groceries from an entity that's not out to gouge us, right? They're not out to fleece us of our dollars. They're not out to get rich. They're not out to make a penny. The only pennies that they make, they're going to reinvest into the place to either enhance its services or just simply to pay the bills, right? And so if they can come to a net zero proposition where they put out all this money, but they get enough money back to pay for the whole operation, that's beautiful as far as I'm concerned. That's an example of government doing what government is supposed to do, and that is to make the lives of its citizens better. What the hell is government for? Right? Like the rich guys, only rich people come up with the idea that government should get the hell out of our faces and let us live our lives. You have to be part of the 1% to say that. If you're saying that and you're not a billionaire, read a book or something, okay? Anyways, I'm not here to lecture, and yet here I am lecturing. It's tough. After 32 years of professional lecturing, it's it's something that's a little difficult to sort of shed, so forgive me. Anyways, that concept of publicly funded grocery stores has now been brought up in Canada by Avi Lewis, who is the new leader of the New Democratic Party, or NDP, here in Canada. You know that bunch of socialists, right? So anyways, he is, of course, advocating for this. And, it's not some pie in the sky sort of thing. There are there have been studies, of course. And so some of those studies are number studies. How much would this cost? And so there are no firm numbers that you can point at and say that's what it's going to cost. So, right now, at this stage where we haven't done anything yet, these numbers that I'm going to throw at you are speculative. They're estimates. They could be close to the mark. They could be far off the mark, but they serve as a starting point or a starting point for the discussion.